Right. Welcome to Prime Minister's Questions with the blancmange of shit and evil that is Boris Johnson. He's been given a couple of softball questions at the moment from Conservative gobshites, and I'm leaving the sound off for the moment. But I will be appearing presently So he's just blathering, as he often does at the moment. The super sewer? What? Now he's talking about a super sewer. Jesus Christ, what on earth is going on? Right, here we go. Leader of the opposition. Here comes Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the last election, the Prime Minister promised that nobody would have to sell their home to pay for care. That's another broken promise,
He's a liar, isn't he?
Prime Minister.
No, Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker. Because if he looked at what we are proposing, and if he supported what we are proposing, which is fixing something that Labour never fixed in all their years in office, Mr. Speaker, we are saying to the people of this country that we will disregard your home as part of your assets if you and your spouse are living in it. And number two, Mr. Speaker, you can have a deferred payments agreement if you move out of it and you're living in residential care. You can have a deferred payments agreement. But most important of all, Mr. Speaker, by putting the huge investment that we are making now in health and social care, and we are allowing for the first time the people of this country to insure themselves against the potentially catastrophic, the otherwise catastrophic costs of dementia or Alzheimer's.
What is this guy talking about? It's only protecting the rich. If your house is only worth 80 grand, you will lose everything. If your house is worth $1 million, you'll keep nearly all your money.
Up and down the land about their homes.
What a rat bag.
I think the Prime Minister just described the broken system he said he was fixing. So it's certainly not a straight answer. Let's have another go. Let's have another go. He used to say, I see they turned up this week, Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker.
Good point.
He used to say that...
Sorry. I don't think I need any further. Yesterday we had a very good example of the house being at its best in that church, in that cathedral. Please, let's show some respect. I want to be able to hear not only the Prime Minister but the Leader of the Opposition. Shouting each other down doesn't do you or your constituents any good. We need to hear the questions, and I certainly need to hear the answers. And if anybody doesn't like it, please leave now. Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, it's not a complicated question, so let's have another go. He used to say that nobody would have to sell their home to pay for their care. It's in his manifesto right here.
Because he's a liar.
On the basis of that promise, he then put up tax on every working person in the country. So has he done what he promised and ensured that nobody will have to sell their home to pay for care? Yes or no? It's not complicated.
Prime Minister.
No, it's not complicated, Mr. Speaker, because we're not. Because what we're doing,
you just lied. You always lie. That's what you do. It's kind of your shtick. You're a lying piece of shit. You're a bin bag filled with custard. You're a cowardly, bloated scarecrow.
Is not included in that, Mr. Speaker. And they have absolutely no plan. They've spent decades failing to address this, and only a few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, they failed to vote for the £36 billion that will enable us to fix
They're not in
this,
government.
to help people
They're not in government.
across the country.
They're not in government.
Not just
To say it's better than it was, you've been in power for the last 11 years, you monumental gobshite.
and receive the care they need in their homes. That's what this One Nation Conservative government is
They
doing.
need what in their homes? You're going to do that.
Mr. Speaker has had two opportunities to stand by his manifesto commitment, and he's not taken them. It says he just has. So let's test this in the real world, Prime Minister.
Here we go.
Under the Prime Minister's plans, a person with assets worth about £100,000, most of it tied up in their home, would have to pay £80,000.
Yep.
They'd lose almost everything. How on earth does the Prime Minister think that they can get their hands on that kind of money without selling their home?
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker,
Chicken feed to this gobshite. Chicken feed. Go on, say it. Chicken feed.
The right honourable gentleman opposite, because it is important, and the fact is that the party opposite have totally failed to address it. They haven't had the guts to fix this in all their time in office. It's something left over. It's something left over from the Attlee government, and we are.
The Attlee. You're talking about the Attlee government. You've been in power for 11 years. Your party has been in power for 11 years, gobshite.
A second year in your residential care, Mr. Speaker. You have a deferred payments agreement. If you're number 3, Mr. Speaker.
Oh right, okay. So you lose everything when you die.
Against the catastrophic consequences by capping it at 86,000, Mr. Speaker. And look, he stood on a manifesto.
86,000.
Mr. Speaker, at £100,000.
4 years of wages for the average worker in the UK.
The question was very simple, and it's the question all of his backbenchers on. If you've got a house worth about £120,000, £140,000, how do you find £80,000+ without selling your home? It's common sense. Strip away the bluster, strip away the deflection, strip away the refusal to answer the question. There's a simple truth, and this is why the Prime Minister won't address it. People will still be forced to sell their homes to pay for care. That accounts. Why did they... Look at the vote the other day to see the answer to that question. They'll still be forced to sell their home. It's another broken promise. Just like he promised that he wouldn't put up tax. Just like he promised 40 new hospitals. Just like he promised a rail revolution in the north. Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker.
Guy's a liar.
Who knows? Who knows if he'll make it to the next election? But if he does, how does he expect anyone to take him and his promises seriously?
Yeah.
Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, yet again he raises the rail revolution in the north, and the 3 new high-speed lines, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, he's really rattled, isn't he? Look, he's really rattled. People are turned out because he's got 24 letters from backbenchers saying no confidence.
And just for the advantage of what I didn't even know this. I was
They need about 25 more.
About this last week, Mr.
30.
Speaker. But it turns out that the right honourable gentleman actually campaigned against HS2 altogether. Said it would be devastating and said it should be cancelled. I can tell you something, Mr. Speaker. HS2 runs through my constituency as well. And I took a decision, even though it's been very tough for my constituency.
HS2? Yeah, of course it runs through your constituency. It's in the south.
It was the right thing
You have stolen the future from the north. You absolute cockhead. Fred Westminster. Thanks, Supertansky, for that one. Lost his place in his notes. Yeah. Dickhead.
The only thing he's delivering is high taxes, high prices, and low growth. I'm not sure the Prime Minister should be shouting about that. And it isn't just broken promises, it's also about fairness. Everyone needs protection against massive health and care costs. But under his plans, someone with assets worth about £100,000 will lose almost everything. Yet somebody with assets of about £1 million will keep almost everything.
Yeah.
It's just like their 2017 manifesto all over again. Only this time, something has changed. He's picked the pockets of working people to protect the estates of the wealthiest. How could he possibly have managed to devise a working-class dementia tax?
Oh, good name for it. Working-class dementia tax.
I've answered that question 3 times already.
He thinks it's really funny.
This does more for working people up and down the country than Labour ever did. Labour ever did, because we're actually solving the problem that they failed to address. We're disregarding your housing asset altogether, Mr. Speaker, while you're in it. And he talks about jobs, he talks about working people. Well, let me just remind him. There's just one key statistic that people should bear in mind. It's now almost a month after furlough ended. He talks about the economy, Mr. Speaker. There are now more people
mention the economy.
in work than there were before.
You didn't mention the economy, you daft twat. Why are you answering a different question? Didn't mention the economy.
Mr. Speaker, there's no getting away from it. Working people are being asked to pay twice. During their working lives, they'll pay much more tax in national insurance,
Yes,
whilst those
it's a
living off
regressive
wealth
tax.
are protected.
Yeah.
And then when they retire, Mr. Speaker, they face having to sell their home when the wealthiest won't have to do so.
Yeah.
It's a classic con game, a Covent Garden pickpocketing operation. The Prime Minister's the front man, distracting people with wild promises and panto speeches, whilst his Chancellor dips his hand in their pocket. But now the Prime Minister's routine is falling flat. His Chancellor is worried that people are getting wise.
Yeah.
His backbenchers say it's embarrassing. Your words. Your words. And senior people in Downing Street tell the BBC it's just not working. Is everything okay, Prime Minister?
Hey! Yeah, go on, take that.
Mr. Speaker, I tell you what's not working. It's that line of attack.
Oh, fuck off, you semi-sentient blancmange.
I want to repeat the crucial point, Mr.
Go on,
Speaker.
gobshite.
For the working people of this country.
What are you delivering? Misery, pain, suffering, food banks upon food banks upon food banks. That's what you're delivering, you absolutely colossal sack of straw, cocaine, and shite.
Jobs up with their wages going up, Mr. Speaker, than there were before the pandemic began. And that's because of the policies that this government...
He's made up because the economy's doing better now we're out of fucking lockdown. This guy's not all there, is he? It's like, oh wow, I poured this water out and it landed on the floor. How did that happen? I should be given accolades for that. The economy that his party fucked up. Strategic investments in your mates. In oh, hello. Hello. You mean HS2 that was brought in by the Labour government? Okay, HS2 came out under the Labour government. The whole concept came out under the Labour government. Oh, piss off, you brown-nosing cock.
The rest of the UK's presidency of COP to urge countries around the world to make good on the pledges that they made.
You want other people to make good on their pledges, but you won't make good on yours. Oh, fuck off, Andrew Leadsom, you absolute cock-block jockey.
I totally agree with my right honourable friend.
Oh, of course you do. Nadine Dorris there on the front row, like looking like a fucking deranged.
40,000 new green highways.
I'm trying to think of something that's not sexist to say. There we go. Yeah, new green jobs.
Agenda that we had endorsed at COP26, I believe.
Breakthrough agenda. What did you do?
A million jobs across the world.
You back-heeled the high-speed rail. That would have taken cars off the road. In the north. Right, Ian Blackford on his feet.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you will wish to join me and indeed the rest of the House in welcoming the moderator of the Church of Scotland to the gallery today, Lord Wallace, and to thank him for his sage words at his sermon this morning. Mr. Speaker, the past few weeks have shown this Tory government
to be a
very worst.
Shower of shite.
The Tory sleaze and corruption scandal on a scale not seen since the 1990s.
Yeah.
Tory cuts and
it's worse than the 90s. That was all a first. This is giving billions to the mates. Yeah.
From HS2 to carbon capture, social care, the triple lock on pensions.
Oh yeah, that went as well.
And who can possibly forget the £20 billion bridge to Ireland that evaporated?
Yeah. Oh, no one saw that coming.
At the centre of all this is one man, a Prime Minister who is floundering in failure.
He is.
So, can I ask the Prime Minister, with his party falling in the polls, his colleagues briefing against him, has he considered calling it a day before he's pushed out the door?
Yes! Go on! Fuck off, Boris! Alexander the Piffle
What the people
twat
of this country want to hear
is
let's
that
talk
is
about,
the news of your death,
and they want to talk
gobshite.
about what the
That's what I want to
is doing
fucking
for
hear.
the people of Scotland.
Oh,
And what the Scottish
do you know what the
government
best
is
thing
doing
you could do for
for
Scotland
Scotland?
would be, Boris?
But what we
Fuck
want
off
to talk
forever.
about, infrastructure investment, and I can tell him that if he will wait till
Shut up,
till
Patel, you
Friday or
twat.
later this week, he's going to hear about what we're going to do with the Union Connectivity Review to ensure that the people of Scotland are served with the connections that they need, and which the Scottish Nationalist Party has totally failed to put in.
He says Scottish Nationalist Party again. Did you notice that?
Thank you, Mr.
Fucking
Speaker. That
arsehole.
certainly wasn't an answer to the question I asked, but we're used to that. And
Yeah.
I didn't expect the Prime Minister to take responsibility because he never does. But this
Yes.
is just about the chaos in the Conservative Party. It's about the state of the United Kingdom under his failing leadership. Because whilst the Prime Minister spends his time hunting for chatty pigs and staving off a leadership challenge from the Treasury, in the real world, Mr. Speaker, people are suffering a Tory cost of living crisis. Brexit is hitting the economy hard, but the Prime Minister can't even give a coherent speech to business. The Prime Minister's officials have lost confidence in him. Tory MPs have lost confidence in him. The letters are going in.
Yeah, letters going in.
Have lost confidence in him. Why is he clinging on when quite clearly he simply isn't up to the job?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I might
Yeah.
ask the right honourable gentleman what on earth he thinks he is doing, talking about party political issues when what the people of Scotland want to hear is what on earth the Scottish National Government is doing. They're falling in the polls, Mr. Speaker. I think their cause, yes, they are. Their cause is falling in the polls. And considering the manifold failures on tax, on education, and all the things the people of Scotland.
You mean the
really
taxes
care
that you've
about,
put
not
up when
to
you said
pay
that
much
you
peace
wouldn't,
agreements
the
on
education
pensions
that you haven't supplied? Right, that's it from Boris Johnson, I think. I'm just going to cut the sound because can't be dealing with Tories. I mean, look at this gammony fucker here. Look at him. Look at him. He looks like some mad scientist has put together a robot out of gammon. Look at his face. It's so fucked. Like, how many like degrees of separation do you think his parents were before they got together? One, maybe. Does his dad introduce his mum as his sister wife? Is that what's happened there? I mean, look at this. Do you think he went to private school? I could probably tell you that without looking it up. But yeah, here's Johnson here on his feet, just being a twat and deflecting all these questions by going, yes, but why didn't you support us? Why don't you support us? Which is a classic thing that husbands say to their wives, isn't it? When they're getting ready to beat the shit out of them, like, oh, why don't you support me? You didn't stand up for me when you always mean to me in the supermarket. You never help me out. Oh yeah, Boris Johnson. The shit doesn't fall far from the arse, does it? Oh, actually, Caroline Lucas is on her feet. Let's put the sound back on.
To why his government is pressing ahead not just with the Cambo oil field, but with 39 other oil, gas and coal developments, which would amount to 3 times the UK's current annual climate emissions.
Wow.
I don't want an answer about all the things he thinks he is doing on cars and cash and trees. I want him to tell the House if he will leave those fossil fuels in the ground, will he cancel those projects? And does he recognise that if he doesn't, he will need to ask for forgiveness, not just for losing his place in a speech, but for losing the future of our children?
Yeah.
Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, we are not only powering past coal, going to...
See, he doesn't answer the question. He just talks about other stuff. It's so frustrating. I wish he'd just die. Just fucking just cark it. I mean, this guy is 97% cocaine and alcohol. Like, how is he still alive? His liver must be like the size of New fucking England.
He stopped the financing of overseas hydrocarbons, and that is a fantastic thing which the whole world followed.
Dr. Andrew Murris.
Mr. Speaker, net zero, levelling up and
There's another
building
gammon.
back better can't
Piss off. Bloody hell, look at this guy. He's like, he's dead yet still alive. Look at him. Jesus Christ. It's like someone's gone to the mortuary, haven't they? Someone's doing a weekend of Bernie's with this fucker. Look at him. Jesus Christ. Imagine coming home for that, you know, like, all right, Dad. Well, I was work today in the graveyard where you fucking work. Do you reckon when he was a boy, he had to walk in front of the funeral processions, you know, looking sad, like in Victorian times? That sort of thing that Rees Mogg would have had to have done, eh? Oh, these absolute cockheads. They're just horrific. And like, what's happened here? Because these letters have gone in from the 1922 committee, or well, the backbenchers who have put letters of no confidence in for Boris Johnson. The latest number I've heard is 24. They need 55 in order to trigger a leadership election. What I've heard so far, you know, we're about halfway there. The whips have told everyone that they've got to turn up to this Prime Minister's Question Time, because they didn't turn up last week because they also discussed it with him. So the fact that there are people there now, they're all the spineless jellyfish who want to support the Boris Johnson monkey clown car on fire that's going off a cliff. And good, I'm quite glad that it's going off a cliff. And hopefully, very soon, we should see the whole fucking lot of them being chucked out of government. But that's going to rely on the sage wisdom of the British public. And people say, oh, don't ignore the polls. No, don't ignore the polls, because the politicians, these dickheads here, they listen to the polls, and if his fucking star starts to fade, they get rid of the fucker. So think about it for a minute. Yeah. When those polls come out and it shows Labour with a 5-point fucking lead or whatever it is, maximise that shit. Get it out there. Get it to every single Tory voter that you know, because they'll go, oh, well, it must be because Boris Johnson's not a very good leader. And that filters back to the party. A kind of trickle-up effect, if you like. Anyway, I've got loads of messages here. Tales from the Crypt. That's from Darren Christian. Lol. Financing of UK hydrocarbons. And not amused. Look at this gammony motherfucker. Do you think he played rugby? Do you think he was one of the rugger buggers in the university who poured fucking snaky bee on his head? Look at him. What a guffawing twat. You know, you can see by his face that he's never done a decent day's work in his life. And he's the Conservative for Lincoln. Oh my God, Lincoln. I mean, Lincoln's kind of the North, but it thinks it's the South. And it's just an entire county full of like escaped mental patients or something. I don't know. Not the good kind, like in Dream Team or One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. No, the bad kind, like you get escaping from Arkham Asylum or wherever the hell it was. I'm trying to remember the name of the institution that Michael Myers from Halloween was put in, but you know, it's called Sunnyvale or something, I'm sure. Anyway, right, so I'm gonna make myself big. Is that all right? Can I make myself big? I'll just be 1 second. Hang on. I'll freeze for a second. So I'll freeze on a cool frame of me. Yeah, finger guns. There you go. Oh God, that's kind of a creepy smile. I shouldn't have frozen on that particular shot. I don't think that did me any favors. But don't worry, I'll disappear now. There you go, disappeared. But I'm still here. I'm still here in spirit, and I will soon be back on your screens, furnishing you with some more devastating truth. Oh shit! No, I won't, because my camera isn't working. I love it when it does this, and I get like a green liney screen. Oh fuck. Okay, let's try this again. Sorry about this, everyone. My tech isn't working. So you're having to watch a very quiet Prime Minister's questions. Okay, right. Oh, do you know what? I've got my camera set on just HD rather than 4K, I think, and that's why it's... Everything's going a bit mad. Right, so let's see what we got here. Any backgrounds? Oh, I've run out of my backgrounds aren't showing up. Oh, yes, they are. Let's have a go here. I've only got my nighttime background. Oh, I've got a mountain there. I've got space. Sorry, I'm just... Oh, there's my man. There you go. Office hell. background. I will use that, I think. Me on there. Sorry, I'm a bit dark today. I still haven't fixed up my lights properly. I will, I promise. That will happen. But in the meantime, Boris Johnson. I'll tell you what, I'll bring me up. Right. Hello. Sorry, I'm a bit dark. I will sort this out for you because I don't want you looking for a light switch to make me a bit brighter. So just give me a moment and I will correct the gamma on my gamma. Correct the gamma. Let's see what I can do here. There we go. Oh, it's disappearing. It's like in Back to the Future, isn't it? I'm the ghost of Graham. There you go. The top of my hat's still invisible. There you go. That's better. Okay. Fun with green screens. Everyone loves the green screen. They're fun. They are, I tell you. Right. So let's get this cockshite off my screen. Up here. Because I hate him. Right. Boris John. He is. So it's my coat. Boris Johnson is gone. I'm just going to talk about some of the things that he was talking about on his little Prime Minister's questions there. He was asked basically 5 questions. That was a great shot. Thank you very much. He was asked various questions about his ability to tell the truth and to live up to his promises that he likes to make. He likes to make promises. He likes the sound of his own voice. But can he actually talk? Can he walk the walk? No. He is just full of bluster, lies, subterfuge. And hang on. Oh dear, what happened there? Sorry, the sound must have been really bad then. For some reason, my video camera sound was on as well, so you would have got an echo. Sorry, David. Yes, Graham echo. No, I've fixed it. Sorry, I noticed the sound waves bouncing up and down. There's 2 of them, and I was like, I didn't turn you on. What are you doing? Crazy camera thing. So that was the sound coming from my camera there and the microphone at the same time. Obviously, that's a little bit further away, creates an echo. Not great. Graham AM ASMR, are you in Jacob Rees-Mogg's crypt? A bunch of spineless, chinless sycophants, says Glasgow Kiss. Did I suddenly inhale a handful of coke? Graham and the great V-verb. Yeah, sorry about that. I've sorted that. We know it's a slight echo. Yes, echo. Boris is a twat, haha, twat, haha, twat. Graham, don't get too excited. I'm old enough to remember the 92 election. Also, I live in the north. Still plenty of creatures willing to vote for him. That's very true. I'm trying to keep myself grounded because I know that Boris Johnson's tenure as the Prime Minister of this country may, it's looked like it was over a few times, especially in that first summer after he was elected. He looked like he was going to be elected by party officials, party members. We should have all joined the Tory party. But then what was the option? Was it him and Hunt? Was it? Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway. Yeah, it did look when he was talking about being dead in a ditch, wasn't getting Brexit done, they prorogued Parliament, all this kind of shit, all these shenanigans. I mean, it did look pretty dicey for Johnson for a bit there, but he got through it. And that's the thing that sort of holds me back to full celebration mode of Boris Johnson's imminent departure, because it might not be that imminent. The fact is that Boris Johnson has weathered bigger storms than this before, and the Tory party are unlikely to slay the goose that lays the golden eggs. He won a election by a landslide with his flagship policy, which was deeply unpopular amongst everyone educated in the country. There are people out there who are thick as pig shit who think Brexit is great because they're thick as pig shit. But you can tell, you probably shouldn't listening to those people because they're thick as pig shit. Anyway, but enough of them voted for him, and obviously the opposition was a crock of wank. So what are you going to do? He won. And the reason why backbenchers are turning on him now is because of northern constituencies, in particular, that are feeling like that they've been screwed over by Boris Johnson, and hopefully some scales are falling from their eyes. But I keep saying this. It's not about changing people's minds. You're never going to change anyone's mind about anything, ever. Imagine like the population of this country is like a dippy teenager who is madly in love with someone who treats them like shit. Yeah, that's pretty much the relationship that the British population has with its Prime Minister Boris Johnson. He only hits me because I'm clumsy. Oh, for God's sake, there are plenty more fish in the sea. There's plenty more leaders in the leadership bowl. Maybe ones that didn't go to Eton or Harrow or Winchester for a change. Just to mix it up, something new. How about we have a leader this century that didn't go to a posh school? Good luck with that. I live in Barrow, in fairness. Plenty of gammons without a poster pitting will vote Tory because of immigration. Oh, God, you're immigrants. Yeah. As we all know, people from around the world wish to live in Barrow. Ask any Syrian refugee. Yeah, because Barrow's so lovely. A bit like Slough and Hull and Grimsby and Sunderland. You know, Sunderland. Oh, come on over to Sunderland because it's so scenic. It's beautiful. Have you been to Sunderland? It's a shithole. It really is. I mean, you know, any city has its grotty bits, but some have nice bits as well. No, not Sunderland. No, not Hull. Anyway, I'm really educated. I am indeed. So yeah, I'm hoping that the echo has died away. Like echo. Oh, no, there's an echo. So yeah, Boris Johnson, whether he will survive this, I don't know. I wouldn't put any money on it. I really wouldn't. And I try not to get carried away because this has happened so many times before, hasn't it? Where we have thought, oh, good, we're going to get rid of Boris Johnson now. And then he's clung on by the with the support, the full-blooded support, bloodied probably actually, because a number of times he smashed them in the face with his own lies. Support of dickheads all over the country. Oh yeah, well, you know, we didn't want a high-speed rail link anyway. Only would have brought more foreigners to our village. The new road, we didn't ban him. What's this dystopian alternative universe I seem to have stumbled into? Such Duke vengeance. Well, yeah. That's between a face slap and a high five. GK. What? An echo chamber. Yes. So anyway. I don't think this is an echo chamber. Because I don't agree with a lot of the people watching this on a lot of other topics. We agree on some. We don't agree on everything. I don't think it's an echo chamber. But what we all do agree on, and what, you know, we've had long conversations into the night on Discord, and I've been doing this show now in various guises for over a year of almost daily shows, live shows. So I feel like we've got to know each other quite well, and I feel like everyone watching this, or everyone commenting, or anyone taking involved, has a decent grasp of morality. You know, right and wrong. You know, I think your parents or your parent taught you well. I think they taught you the difference between, you know, getting on in life and being an absolute gobshite. You know, the difference between helping people up and kicking the ladder away once you get to the top. And that's heartening. There are loads of people like us. There are millions of people like us. And it's not an echo chamber to talk to each other and say, hey, we need to do something about these fucking robbing bloody robber barons in Parliament, in the Conservative Party. We need to do something about the environment. We need to do something about the mental health crisis. We need to do something about the drugs crisis. We need to do something about the COVID crisis. God, man, there's so many crises all coming on at once. The NHS crisis. So, yesterday was the third reading of this NHS bill, this NHS care bill, which doesn't just screw over poorer people. Well, no one thinks they're poor. People on a lower socioeconomic bracket. People with smaller houses. Can we call them that? Because message to Keir Starmer, if you're listening, Keir, I know you're not, but don't use the word poor. Just stop using the fucking word poor. Every time you use it, it drives me fucking crazy because I'm like, no one wants to be called poor. Imagine it like the word cunt. Okay? Just imagine if you're calling people a pack of cunts. How are they going to feel about it? They're not going to like it. Maybe it's they're Australian, maybe they're from Newcastle and it's being affectionate, but most of the time, people don't like that word. They call it the C-bomb. They do everything in their power to not say it, okay? Think of poor, think of the word poor in that respect. If you want to talk about, you want to use the word poor, use it to say this is a very poor government. They have a poor management of the economy. They have a poor management of education and healthcare and transportation. Use it in that context. Do not use it to describe people. Say they have smaller houses. People, hard-working people, hard-working, always, hard-working families, okay? Not individuals, families. Because people, especially Tory voters, don't give a fuck about themselves. They don't really give a fuck about their family, but they have to pretend to. You see? Keeping up appearances. These fucking sociopaths who vote for these fucking sociopaths have to, give a facade to the world, a veneer to the world of what they like to project of themselves. Yeah, they care about their of course. Oh, I look after my family. Oh, I look after my great. So use those words, Kia. Hard working families in smaller houses. Okay? Small and far away. Small, far away. Got to do it. Got to change the language. Mix it up. No one likes being called poor and no one thinks of themselves as being poor. You talk about helping the poor, they think you're talking about helping other people. You need to make it very clear you're talking about them. Hard working. They're not. No one works hard in this country, for fuck's sake, unless they're picking fucking berries and then they're not from this country. Hard working, family, small house. In a maybe in a left behind area, if you want to have a dig at the Tories, left behind by this Tory agenda, which just serves the aristocracy. Use the word aristocracy. Someone had a go at me. You might be watching, Casper. Hello, for saying that the two, when people look in the future back at why the UK collapsed. I think they'll boil it down to two factors: the aristocracy and cocaine. That's it. All over. Just took those two things. We need to be using the word aristocracy. When Keir Starmer slags off Boris Johnson and Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel and all that lot, and Rishi Sunak, the richest MP in the House, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the richest MP in history. These people are part of the aristocracy. Now, actually, don't use the word aristocracy. Change my mind. Use the word neo-aristocracy. Because that makes them sound fake. Also, it makes them sound new. And do you know what old people fucking hate? New things. They're still whinging about how 5p pieces are too small and fiddly. We've had them for 25 fucking years. And the old shilling, when I was growing up, was about the size of a fucking pizza. So good, yes, little small fiddly coin. It's not fucking worth anything. Just blow us a hole in your fucking pocket. Oh, they're so small and fiddly. They don't like change. They don't like new stuff. They want things to go back to how they were. And people think, well, it's a revolution. People voted to leave the EU. That's a big change, Graham. No, it's not. They voted to go back to their childhood. They voted to go back to the days when they were chasing a hoop with a stick through the bombed out remains of their fucking communities. Oh, them were the days when we had rationing. Oh, let's bring back rationing. Oh, great, we'll have a run on the supermarkets. We'll have a run on fuel. We'll have to ration the fuel. We'll have to ration certain things in the supermarket. Oh, it's just like the war. It's great. Not that these people lived in the fucking war. The people who lived through the war are nearly all dead. The ones that had survived up to this point have all been pretty much wiped out by COVID. And people like Lawrence Fox, who doesn't want to wear a mask, even though it could save someone else's life. There are people who give blood. They give blood. They don't know who it's going to go to. But they do it because they want to save someone's fucking life. And these cunts who go around with the little poppies on, got to show me poppy, got to virtue signal me poppy, got to have respect for the dead, have no respect for the living. Not at all. No respect for the survivors of World War II. Ring of protection. My arse. I can see I have a super chat from Pineapple Boy. Takes millions of sociopaths to put a psychopath into Downing Street, says Pineapple Boy. That's a very good point, Pineapple Boy. And thank you very much, my 449 Super Chat. Super Chats are open. If anyone wants to throw some money into my hat and say, keep swearing, Graham, we enjoy this, because it's always nice to let off a bit of fucking steam now and again at the absolute crock of shite that is running this country into the ground, destroying it, absolutely destroying our nation. Why are they destroying our nation? Because they're gobshites. That's it. They fucked up. They wanted the UK of 1900. They got 1970. Yeah, indeed. Graham said poverty exists. Example, poor in economy, but noble in heart. Yeah, I know. David, okay, you're a sensible guy, right? The people who vote Conservative are not sensible. If you don't have much money and you vote Conservative, you are a fucking idiot. I mean, you are off the chart stupid because you are voting against your own interests, your own self-interest, the self-interest of yourself, your partner, your children, your family, your mother, your father, everyone you know. Everyone in your community, you are voting against their interests. Every dickhead living in a swamp in Alabama who votes Republican, you're like, how fucking thick do you need to be? Like, seriously, they're never going to help you, but they think they're going to win the lottery next week. Oh, Saturday I got me numbers for the Euro Millions. Thought you didn't like Europe. Yeah, but it's the Euro Millions. I'm going to win £67 million. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not. The chances, the odds are never in your favour in a lottery. But someone's got to win. But someone's got, yeah, but it's not going to be you. And if it is you, is that the way people should make money in this society? In this ridiculous capitalist society where we focus on growth and growth and growth, and the more money is being stacked up at the very top, the 1% now owning probably 99% of the wealth of the world. Yeah, it's a bit top heavy at the moment. The middle class is getting squeezed, and yet the middle class, the grasping little twats in the middle class, are voting Conservative, are voting Republican against their better interests. Parents in private schools are taught as well. Oh, wait. No, not private schools. BHM. But you use the term neo-aristocrat. I'm going to just start calling everyone who went to private school a neo-aristocrat. Because that's what they are. And they say, oh, they got in on a scholarship. Don't care. You know, some people became a lord because they were born into it. Some people won a war. Some people were just fortunate. Just knew the right people. You know, like Dido Harding, who's thick as pig shit, managed to spaff 37 billion fucking pounds of our money up the pissing wall on a track and trace system that didn't fucking work. Why did she get that job? Well, she was the wife of a Tory MP. Why was she given a fucking damehood? I think she's a dame or something, isn't she? Or an OBE or something like that. She was given a gong. She was given a seat in the House of fucking Lords, wasn't she? By a mate, David Cameron. Because she hung out with him in university. Imagine you being able to get your mates from university you went out for a drink with now and again. Oh, yeah, we went out for a coffee. Yeah, that was nice. Here you go. Have £1 million. That's for being my friend in university. Fucking hell. What a nice life for people, eh? I fear that the future, says Alexis. Yeah, the future when I was growing up kept getting better. I remember the 80s. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat, by the way, Alexis. When I was growing up in the 80s, I lived under the cloud of nuclear war. Me and my brother was terrible for this. He would make me watch these fucking movies like Red Dawn, When the Wind Blows. We watched Threads, the TV show. Threads, remember that? All about post-apocalyptic. Mad Max 3. Don't forget, Mad Max 2 isn't post-nuclear. We can talk about this in the discussion and Discord later, but Mad Max 2 is not actually post-nuclear. It's when the oil has run out, and that's why everything's gone fucking crazy. The nuclear bomb doesn't happen until after that, and that happens between the events of Mad Max 2 Road Warrior and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Thanks for watching. Anyway, so yes, this threat of nuclear war, this is being wiped out by the Russians. I still remember to this day I was in the back garden at my parents, and just by the shed, my brother decided to dig a hole because he was going to dig a nuclear fallout shelter with a little shovel. And I went, oh, can I help? Because I was little brother. I thought, be useful. So I start digging away with him. And I'm like, why are we digging? He said, well, you only need to dig down into the soil like a few meters, right, to make a little space. And then what you do is you put like a door and some like metal on top, like, corrugated metal. and then you can survive the blast of a 1 megaton bomb going off at the city centre, at where we were in the suburbs. And I was like, great, how many megatons is a Soviet bomb? And he's like, oh, they're about 50. Okay, so I just put the shovel down. That's the point of this. So there's this horrible feeling, that this existential threat that we could just all be wiped out at any moment, which explains a lot of the architecture that was built at that time. Anyway, 1989, November 1989, the Berlin Wall comes down. Fucking amazing. And suddenly this weight seemed to be lifted from humanity. Even me, I was 10. I was 10 when the wall came down. I remember it clearly. I remember watching it on News at 10 on ITV. And it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, does this mean that the Russians aren't going to bomb us anymore? Yeah, it's over. It's over. I mean, obviously it rumbled on for a little bit. Entertainingly enough, we were in Hungary one summer after the events of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and there was a coup attempt against Boris Yeltsin, where a few tanks turned up in Red Square. I don't know if you remember this. I think about probably 1991 or 92. Anyway, while that was happening, we were in Hungary. I think we were in Hungary, and in Budapest, and there were fireworks going off. But no, there were explosions. Sorry, I've ruined that story now. Pretend I didn't say that. There were explosions going on. Like, fucking hell. There's explosions. Didn't say fuck. I was only 11. Open the window, open the curtain. What's going on at night time? Bangs going off, and it's all fireworks. And we called down the reception. What's going on? And he said, oh, it's like Hungary's national day today. And we were like, because we're watching these tanks in Red Square on the telly, and these fucking bangs going off outside. We're like, oh my God, we're behind the Iron Curtain. What's going on here? Can't see why I got into politics and history so much, can you? It's quite a formative upbringing. Take your kids travelling. That's all I can say. If you can, go travelling. Go places. Go stay in some, youth hostels, some campsites, and travel. Just go. Any practical H bombs were at most 5 megatons. 50 megatons was the one off for Stalin's. Oh, was that the Tsar bomber? Sorry, 5 megatons. I knew whatever it was more than 1 megaton. So basically, whatever I did would be fucking pointless. Yeah. Aristocats was not a Disney movie. Yes, it was. Do things to check out. The Aristocrats. Okay, that's about the joke, isn't it? Monty Python Twitter of the Year. Might as well be a documentary at this point. Is the Aristocrats, is that the joke about, oh shit, I can't remember what it is, but it gets more and more grotesque as it goes on. Is that the Aristocrats? Or is it a dogma film? No, that's the Idiots. Roger King, I remember when the wall came down and suddenly felt incredibly optimistic, left the Navy and decided to study politics and geography at university. The 90s was a beautiful decade for me. Thank you, Roger. It was for me as well. So I called it the long decade from November 1989 to the events of September the 11th, 2001. That decade, it did seem like things could only get better. And I know there was a lot of shit going down in that decade. I mean, you had the conflict in the former Yugoslavia. You also had Rwanda, the genocide in Rwanda. You had the first Congolese War and the second Congolese War, in which 6 million people died. Yeah, no one seems to remember that, do they? Yeah, 6 million people. Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah. But at the same time, a lot of the civil wars in Africa started winding up in places like Angola and Mozambique, where they've been rumbling on for years. The war in Sierra Leone eventually started winding up. And the war in Sierra Leone was triggered by a war in Liberia. It just came across the border. A lot of these African wars were winding up by the end of the 90s and beginning of the noughties. It looked like we were on a course for a more peaceful planet. And there's people who complain about refugees. Oh, fucking refugees coming over here, stealing our women, jobs, men, boys, plants, artifacts, Nintendo Wii's, whatever it is. Religious artifacts. That's what we do to other countries. There's a little joke there. And yeah, but it looked like things were getting better around the world. And also in the UK, that was the music, wasn't it, for the Labour campaign in 1997? Things Can Only Get Better by D. Ream, featuring Brian Cox on keyboard. Weirdly enough, you know, the not the physicist, not the actor. Anyway, I don't think physicists have to join Equity and therefore have a different name. That's the way it works. Something like that. It's like Steve McQueen, the actor, and Steve McQueen, the director. They can have the same name because one's a director and one's an actor. And if the other Steve McQueen was an actor, he would have to change his name because of other Steve McQueen. Anyway, get off the point here. It seemed like things were getting better. Tony Blair came in. There was this wave of optimism. We had Britpop in the UK. I mean, the beginning of the decade started with grunge. These brilliant movements of music with literally dozens of really, really good bands putting out really good tunes every week. It was a good time. It was a good time, and obviously there's a part of me that's saying this because I was a kid. You know, they were my teenage years. That was my teenage years right there, the 90s. But at the same time, when you step back and look at it as sort of like the world view of it, it did look like things were getting better. The Iraq war started and abruptly ended without the invasion of Iraq, which was a good decision at the time. They managed to get the Iraqi army out of Kuwait, which had invaded. Saddam Hussein was put back in his box and no one liked him anymore. The Iran-Iraq war was over. The conflict in Lebanon was over. The various conflicts around the world came to an end, including the troubles in Northern Ireland. With the signing of the Good Friday Agreement in 1998, I mean, honestly, there were just good things that happened in the news. There were occasional things like glimmers of light, and we knew about climate change. And back then, it was early enough to do something about it. We really could. And don't forget, I'm missing a huge part of this: computers. At the beginning of the decade, you were talking like Maniac Mansion was like the height of the technological power. By the end of the decade, we were into Grand Theft Auto 3 territory. And that is only 10 years. That is insane. But also the internet. Halfway through the decade, the internet came out. And people were like, oh, it's just a fad. It's not going anywhere. It's just silly, isn't it? Just fat nerds on the computer, like talking to each other. No. Much more entertaining than that. Much more entertaining than that. And there's an interview with David Bowie, actually, if anyone can dig it out, from 1999. Well worth checking out. In which he says that the internet's going to change everything. And he was fucking right. He said it's going to be, it could be beautiful, it could be terrible. It will change everything. It's just, he's uncanny the way he talks about the internet. A prophet from the future. No less. And since he died, it's all been a bit shit. So then, 9/11 hit, and that was shit. And then we had the invasion of Afghanistan, and that was shit. And then we had the invasion of Iraq, which was shit. That triggered a lot of unsettlement. Unsettlement? That's not a word, is it? That triggered a lot of death, suffering, pain, and refugees existing. If you don't like refugees, don't start wars. Very simple. I want to get rid of all the refugees in the world. I can do that by getting rid of war and getting rid of tyrannical governments. How do you get rid of tyrannical governments without a war? Well, there are ways and means, my friends. Ways and means. Just got to think out the box, don't you? You don't invade an entire country of 40 million people. You don't invade them to kill a leader. Just invite the leader over for lunch and fucking put some, I don't know, polonium in his sushi. Take a leaf out the Russians' book. Russia was on its knees in the 90s, which was nice because it meant that they weren't really hassling anyone. They were trying to be friends with people. And then throughout the noughties, it just slowly, incrementally, it was like, okay, things aren't going the way that we want it to. I think the instigating incident, actually, thinking about it, might not have been necessarily the September the 11th. I think it was when George W. Bush stole the election from Al Gore in 2000. So we had the president of the United States who didn't win the election, didn't win the popular vote, didn't even win the college vote. The electoral college vote, the only reason why he got in was because his brother Jeb was the governor of Florida, where the vote was where the votes were being recounted, and when it got squeezed down to 400 or 500 votes between them, he got the Supreme Court of Florida to stop the counting and declare Mr. Knobhead, bloody George W. Bush, leader. I think that was where the rot started really setting in. Al Gore then made An Inconvenient Truth, which came out nearly 20 years ago. Nearly 20 years ago. Say that again. Nearly 20 years ago, An Inconvenient Truth, which was absolutely deadly. Dead bang on. I mean, he was right. He was absolutely fucking right. Everything in that documentary was 100% on the money. You know, we keep heating up the world. There's going to be more natural disasters. There's going to be more problems. It's going to cost more money in the long run, blah, 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 blah. And people aren't taking it seriously. People still, to this day, think climate change isn't real. Oh, my God. Like, how many forest fires do you have to live through or die through? Anyway, but and then the global financial crisis of 2008, caused by the deregulation of banking, deregulation of finance. They could just spend money on whatever they wanted, invest in whatever they wanted. There was no one keeping an eye on them. That's why we need governments. We need governments to keep an eye on the fucking cowboys, because people are just going to make money. People are going to make more money. People are going to make loads of money. And then that bubble will burst, and none of them will go to jail. They'll just run off with all their cash that they got. And then we had a few years of sort of picking up the pieces. Then when the dickhead bloody Tories got in with the dickhead bloody Lib Dems in 2011, they decided, oh, I know, let's have austerity. That's the way to stimulate the economy. No! Wrong! I mean, like, imagine you're on a quiz show, right? And they pick up the question, and like, what is the best way to deal with economic, stagnation? Is it A, austerity, or B, stimulate the economy by giving people money? And then they spend the money in their local community. If you said A, you'd be wrong. And anyway, so austerity. And I know we had the Olympics, which was fantastic and sort of Britain's last hurrah as far as I'm concerned. But then it was just all fucking downhill from there. And the last 10 years have been pretty much one disaster after another. One broken promise, one heartbreak, one, celebrity who we loved, some talented artist, singer, performer, comedian, fucking popping their clogs, and just not enough people that we hate dying. And some of the people that we hate died, like Jeffrey Epstein, but he died to evade justice. Well, I don't know if he actually did himself in. It's more likely that he didn't. But, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it wasn't just him that was evading justice who evaded justice by his death. Let's put it that way. Starmer ruled out rejoin this week. So who do you vote for, Graham? Who? I'll vote for the Labour Party. I've got to wrap up in a minute, so I can't go into the full explanation of this, but Labour are the only show in town. They're the only party capable of beating the Tories. And if I don't vote for them, my vote will count for the Conservatives, effectively, because that's the way voting works. I mean, indirectly, it will benefit the Conservatives. So I'm going to vote Labour. And I don't care what he says. I just want the Tories out, and then we can talk about what we're going to do about our situation with the EU. The reason why Starmer said we're not talking about rejoin, we're not talking about that, is understandable, because he doesn't want Boris Johnson to have his chance to go on about his one achievement, which was getting Brexit done. Which, if you listen to any of the interviews of these sycophantic twats on TV the last few weeks defending Boris Johnson's lies and callous actions and corruption and general drunkenness and cokeheadedness, they have said, we got Brexit done. He got Brexit done. So let's just don't talk about it. Just leave it, because that's what gets the gammon excited, you see. We don't want the gammon excited. We want them to forget about Brexit. We just want them to focus on the fact that they're accused for the filling stations, they're accused for the supermarket shelf. Well, there's blank spaces on the supermarket shelves, that we don't have enough seasonal labour to get enough food for the country. They're the kind of things that the Conservatives lied about. The triple lock on pensions. The Conservatives lied about social care, meaning that you wouldn't have to lose your house, when it means that you will very much have to lose your house, because most people don't live in £1 million mansions, McMansions. And he lied about HS2. He lied about the Northern Powerhouse Rail. That's what we want people to focus on at the moment. We've got to play this stupid fucking game. I wish Keir Starmer, if he was going to mention Brexit, because it will be put to him, talk more about how Boris Johnson has fucked it up. Don't say, I'm going to stop it. I'll stop it. I'll stop it when I get into power. Give me 10 years. But no, but at the moment, Boris Johnson's absolutely fucked Brexit. He said he was going to get it done. Still going on. Why are we still negotiating with the EU? Why are the French fishermen about to blockade our ports? That's because Boris Johnson fucked up Brexit. I'm feed the narrative of, oh, it could have been beautiful had it not been for X, Y, Z. Because at the moment, we're getting that. Remainers are getting the, oh, it would have been amazing had it not been for the Remainers. The Remainers, they came in the night and they stole our precious Brexit. They made it poo. It would have been a nice soft Brexit if it hadn't been for you fuckers. Sorry, I remember Theresa May's red lines. Pretty much remember her red lines. What the fuck are you talking about? That was before anyone went on a million fucking person march through London. So yeah, go with it. Yeah, Brexit could have worked, but Boris Johnson is too drunk to make it work. He's too incompetent. He's too stupid to make it work. I wish I worked for some kind of communication department for fucking Labour. Jesus Christ. I'll put them on an even bloody keel, I'll tell you. The alternative pro-Brexit anti-immigrant Labour is the Conservative Party. Yes, I'll see. I think that's what I just said. That unfortunately, they are the only show in town that is capable of kicking the Tories out. And to do so, they will probably have to team up with the Lib Dems and the Greens and the SNP. And I hope they do that. I'm Plaid Cymru. Why not? But the next general election is not going to be for another few years. Labour can get its ducks in order before then. So at the next general meeting of Labour, what do they call it? Party conference. At the next party conference of Labour, again, people should stand up and say, we want PR. We want to go for PR. 80% of the members said they wanted PR. The only reason why we didn't get it is because of the fucking unions. So maybe Labour needs to start thinking about deunionising. I mean, yeah, unions are great, and I support the fact that unions exist. But when you've got gobshites like Len McCluskey and Unite the Union, like basically stealing money off members so he can have a nice big fucking penthouse apartment looking out over the Thames River in London, cunt. Yeah, I mean, we need to do something about that. That needs to be stopped. And yeah, we need to bring in more protections for workers. Because they've lost them now that we've left the EU. Most people don't know they've lost them, but they fucking have. And unions are a necessary measure to make sure that these employers don't take the piss. Would you imagine Amazon taking the piss? Never. You know, Amazon, that makes people wee in bottles when they're doing deliveries. And they said they didn't, and then went, oh yeah, we do. Anyway, right. Brexit is a daily magma flow of destruction without finer end or boundaries. That is very true. But yeah, you can look at it this way. I think Yoni's putting the Brexit part of that process ended already. The process itself is an unwinding of the UK. Yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, we have to mitigate the damage that these fuckers are doing. And we can't get rid of them really until the next election. But we can get rid of the people in charge by making sure that as many people who will listen know that these guys are a bunch of fucking cunts who fucking lie. They lie to everyone. They're stealing our money. They're stealing our future. They're robbing the lollipops out of our children's hands. That's what they do. So that's what we need to say. We need to say, hey, you're fucking everything up for everybody. And mention it in your community. Because we don't need to convert Brexit voters. We don't need to make them see the light. We don't need to make them into full red-blooded Europhiles. We don't need to turn them into socialists or communists. We don't need to do anything like that. We don't need conversion therapy for the gammon. We don't need to. We just need them to stay at home in the next election. And up to that point, when they are asked who they're going to vote for in the next election, they need to select the box that says, don't know. Because that puts the shits up the Tories. That's how you get rid of the fuckers who are in charge right now. Which we desperately, desperately need to do. And can everyone put up the crystal ball about when the UK will rejoin and fight to rejoin? We don't have 30, 50, 100,000 years to fight this, folks. Yeah, I mean, this is part of the process to rejoin, though, RC. I mean, we've got to get rid of the Conservatives. That is number one. Before we can do anything else, we need to get rid of this Brexit far-right Tory party. We need to destroy it. It's no good just getting it out of office. We need to smash it into the dust. So yeah, Duke Vengeance, the first step is getting the Conservatives out of power. Yes, exactly. Brexit will be the final undoing of the UK, the final nail in the coffin. The union is on its deathbed. It is, Tacky. The UK is a dead country walking. Okay, so I've gone 10 minutes over my time, but that's all right because I came on 5 minutes. Well, I was 5 minutes late. I came on at the beginning of Prime Minister's questions. Gammon's of a lost cause, encouraging them to vote for the Reform Party to split the Tory vote. Yeah, that's a good point, Roger. Yeah, I get what you're going at for there, but I'll just encourage them not to vote. Just encourage them not to vote. Just go, why are you voting? They're all robbers. Because that's the thing that they say, you know, when you say, oh, these Tories are robbing us. Oh, they're all robbers. These Tories are dishonest. Oh, all politicians are dishonest. Which is a stupid fucking response to any, you know, to have, because it kind of justifies the fact that these people are so monumentally corrupt on the grounds that other people are corrupt as well. When, you know, corruption scandals in other parties are dealt with. You know, they don't get promoted. They don't stay on. They leave the party. They get kicked out of the party. They resign. They in disgrace. They go to fucking jail in the case of one Labour MP, and they have a fucking by-election. They'll leave them in power. Do you know what I mean? Even though, you know, could be a difficult by-election. Anyway, so yeah, but splitting the vote's a good idea, actually, and maybe in a weird way we should welcome Nigel Fucktage back to the front line of British politics, because hopefully he'll take some votes off the fucking Tories, which is all he's good for, really. Yeah, the UK's in the cul-de-sac. I'm serious. Pipe Lawrence Fox songs into their ears. Torture the fuckers. Okay, right. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow night for Hughes of the World at 10 o'clock, where I will be investigating and talking about the country of Central African Republic, which used to be known as the Central African Empire. It's been a while since the last one, so I might be a bit rusty. And also, I should let you know that it's mine and Catherine's anniversary, so we're actually going to the cinema beforehand. So I might not even be prepped, but I will be here for you. I will be here talking about Central African Republic as part of my ongoing Hughes of the World show. It will be on a different channel. I have started a new channel, Hughes of the World channel. So I will be broadcasting on that one rather than this one. So I will... how the fuck am I going to do this? I will put up a... Oh, you can put notification. You can put like things up, can't you? You can put statuses up on YouTube now with a photo. So I'll try and do a link to that. Listen, tell you what, if it all goes tits up and it doesn't work, I'll just stay on this channel for the moment. Okay. Congrats, Graham, on the anniversary. Yeah, 4 years. 4 years. Not out, which is amazing. But yeah, all good. All good. We've known each other for... Shit. Known each other for... Oh my God. 20... No. 26 years. Fucking hell. What? That can't be right. What's 16? What's 20? What's 42 minus 16? Oh, God. It is as well. It's 26. We've known each other 26 years. Anyway, right. Good things come to those who wait. And we will be back in the EU one day, I promise you. Doing a different night, Graham. Catherine is more important than us. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of thinking of moving it to Friday. Now that you said that. I'll have a think about it. It depends how we're feeling. We might decide to get back from... We're going to the cinema. We really wanted to go see the new James Bond film, but it's just not on anywhere with subtitles in the entire Northeast. Like, we would drive fucking 90 miles to see this fucking film if it had a subtitle showing, but it doesn't. So we're going to go and see Ghostbusters Afterlife, which has mixed reviews, but you know we'll just have a bit of a nostalgia hit, and maybe when we get back from that, we'll have a drink. Okay, so yeah, if you don't hear from me tomorrow, then I'll do it on Friday. How's that? Is that all right? It's all going to get messed up next month anyway because of Christmas, but we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. Quarter of a century went fast. Yeah. Started off well. Okay, so thanks very much for watching.
Like I say, I'll be back either tomorrow or on Friday for Hughes of the World. Sorry that my live shows are going to become a little bit more sporadic than they used to be, but I'm going to try and get a schedule together and really stick to it, so you know when I'm going to be going live. It was a bit random on Ginger Island. I'm just, if you didn't get a notification, you just didn't know. And some days it looked like we were going to go live and we didn't, for various reasons. And some days we were literally doing nothing and streaming the whole thing. But yeah, we got there. We got there in the end, thanks to my wonderful viewers and Marcus and Ishmael and everyone else who helped along the way. Okay, so I'll see you next time. And until then, good morning. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and